Hi, welcome back to Najdorf series. In the previous video we saw the bishop c4 sidelines, so now we'll go through the main lines. Bishop c4, e6, bishop b3, b5, and castle. Instead of castle, white can play here bishop g5. One of the idea is to go queen f3 and long castle, which we're gonna look at. So bishop e7, queen f3, queen c7, anticipating the e5 because the threat was e5 already. White can anyway play e5, but first let's look at the castle. Knight bd7. This gives a bit of the position of bishop g5 Najdorf, which we're gonna look next. But there is an important point that white doesn't have the pawn on f4. So black should be totally comfortable. If white anyway plays e5, bishop b7, protecting the rook and attacking the queen on f3, queen g3, knight takes e5, bishop e6. This is a typical sacrifice in this line, just to show you that the bishop is not doing anything on b3. It cannot go on a4, c4, d file, so it's kind of doomed to be sacrificed on e6. And here white found a perfect moment because f takes e6 is a bit dangerous. After knight e6, the g7 pawn is hanging, the queen is under attack, and the king is vulnerable. So black denies the sacrifice and goes castle. Bishop f6, bishop f6, and bishop d5. Now the bishop is clearly under attack, so it has to go back. Rook supports other pieces from e8, knight f5, bishop c8. We really don't want to be bothered from this knight on f5, so bishop c8 is a great move, attacking the knight on f5. So we can say that white's initiative is dying slowly. If they continue to play knight e4 with the idea to take on f6, it simply doesn't work out, because after bishop f5, knight f6, king h8, white cannot take on e8 because there is a mate on c2. So that's briefly about the castle, long castle. Now we'll get to the main line of e5, which is a critical test for black. e5, bishop b7, a natural response. E takes d6, bishop takes d6, queen e3. Queen e3, it's an important move because it attacks the e6 pawn 3 times, with the bishop, with the knight, with the queen. Black wants to pin the knight on d4, so after bishop c5, white castles, and knight c6 puts more pressure on d4 knight. After knight c6, Ivanchuk came with a brilliant idea to sacrifice not a bishop on e6, but actually a queen. That's a big statement. Queen e6. F takes e6. We just took the queen. Knight e6. But we can feel the danger here that our king is not perfectly placed. The queen is under attack, the bishop is under attack, the g7 pawn is under attack, rook comes to e1, attacks the king. So the most safe move is to play queen e7. Protects everything, and after rook e1, it's simple but very strong, queen e6. Black gives the material back, but is still with a piece up. Rook e6, knight e7, rook de1. White puts pressure on e7, so after castle, they take on e7, bishop e7, rook e7, and now the character of the position changed. Black is exchange up, but in two pawns. Though we can see that their pieces are more coordinated, so I still consider that black is slightly better. Rook e8, bishop e6, king b8. This checks doesn't give anything to white. And after exchanging on e8, bishop h3, black remains comfortable. So, there are of course a lot of moves on bishop g5, but it will be nice if you look in the PGN for detailed analysis. So now let's get back to the castle. Castle, bishop e7, queen f3. The main idea is to go e5. Black has many choices here. Queen c7, queen b6. It's anticipating the e5. So for this video, we choose queen b6, attacking the d4 knight and anticipating e5. Bishop e3 protects the knight, but white has a tricky move here. On bishop g5, we shouldn't be greedy and take the gift that white gave us, queen d4, because after e5, black is in a big trouble. So bishop g5, just castle would be normal, rook d1, normal development, knight d7, rook e1, knight comes to e5, attacks the queen, queen g3, bishop develops on d7. I like very much that the bishop develops on d7 because it protects the e6 pawn. So it never happens that we're afraid of the bishop sacrifice on e6 or knight sacrifice on e6. So after king h1, b4, black grabs the space on queen side, knight has to go to b1, and after a5, black has excellent position. a4 is coming, the bishop is in trouble, and the knight is not standing good also. So let's go back to bishop e3. Queen b7. The point is that the queen stands very good on b7 on this long diagonal. Bishop develops from d7, and ideally is that we have our knight on e5 and bishop d7 and completely developed on the king side. So queen g3, b4. Driving the knight from the c3 square and from the center, so that knight has to go on a4, leaves the pawn unprotected on e4. But right now it's a bit risky to take knight e4 after queen g7, bishop f6, queen h6, our pieces are not well coordinated. So I would not recommend to take the pawn. Knight bd7 is being very flexible. And after f3, to support the e4 pawn, black goes castle. Now black's main idea is to develop knight e5, bishop d7, and here actually white has many choices. Rook fd1, rook ac1, bishop h6, which doesn't work due to knight h5, queen h3, we take the piece, queen h5 and queen a7. We see that the knight is hanging, the queen is very good on this diagonal, pinning the knight. So rook ad1 is another option, and after a3 we can just go a5. Rook fd1, king can go to h8. It is important to know that after knight e5 there is the typical trick of knight b6, because we can see that queen b6 doesn't work because of knight f5. There is double attack on b6 and on g7, so black has to go knight h5, queen e1, and after queen b6, knight e6, queen b8, knight f8, bishop f8, after ab, rook a8, queen a8, queen b4, white is just pawn up. So it's important to remember that here knight e5 doesn't work, so king h8 is a good move. Let's go back to rook fd1, knight e5, and knight b6, the typical trick. So knight h5, again we cannot take on b6 because of knight f5, knight h5, queen h3, knight f4. So now we attack the queen, and white is forced to take on f4, queen b6, bishop e3, getting back to the diagonal, and queen b7. Black is totally comfortable. White's initiative disappeared, and the following plan is bishop d7, a5, a4 to bother the bishop on b3. I hope you enjoyed the video. Today we dealt with main lines of bishop c4 line. We saw a brilliant queen sacrifice that Ivanchik came up with, but black are still doing fine. We saw typical tricks and typical sacrifices on e6, so I hope that you learned something. Thank you for watching.